Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 3 of the Premodern Showdown Series 4. I'm Michael Hype. I'm joined tonight by Bryan Manolakos. Say hi, Bryan.
Hello, friends.
Yes, and we have our first match of the night is Tom Metelsky. He will be up against Aaron Dix. Aaron has returned from Germany, and he's back in the States, and he's ready to play more pre-modern. So he's back for the PSS. He had a week off last week, but now he's back. So let's look at the decks that these players have. So the players have banned each of one of their opponent's decks. So Tom has the mono blue Stifle Knot list, the blue white Landstill, and then Sly. His Sly deck has been banned. And then Aaron brought Zombies, Sly, and Fluctuator. And his Sly deck is also banned. So won't be seeing Sly in this matchup. Is there kind of any permutation or how do you think the players decided on their decks, Bryan? Kind of looking what
I
they
just
have
looked very
available.
quickly. I don't think that Aaron can risk playing Fluctuator against Landstill. So I feel like he's kind of boxed into Zombies. Given that, I actually think Zombies matches up okay-ish with both of these decks. Like it has a decent Landstill matchup for sure. Maybe not that good against Dreadnought because he can't actually kill a creature. He does have all the discards. So I'd say Aaron is almost certainly on Zombies, and I'm not sure what Tom picked. But either way, it's going to be a pretty fair fight.
Okay, let's find out what the players have brought. We will jump over. So first, Tom has selected to play the blue-white Landstill deck. So if you're not familiar with this archetype, it's like a pretty classic, a pre-modern staple. A counterspells, removal, and just tries to make the game go long and eventually win with either Mistress Factory or Decree of Justice. Tom does have like a little bit of number adjustments that maybe are different. I know there's 3 standstill, but there's like a parallax tide, so he's not like fully committed to the plan that we see, like that when we call it like tide control, when there's multiple copies of parallax tides and seal cleansing, and there's like I think there's a replenish, and then like the counterspell package is a little bit different, I think, compared. I mean, 4 counter spells and then 2 mana leaks and a prohibit.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're looking at. So, and then there's like 2 copies of Enlightened Tutor, which aren't always in a Landstill list. So, some adjustments that Tom has made, and we'll see how it fares for him tonight. He's up against Aaron's Zombies list. So, this is a 61 card deck list. I think the story behind that was that Aaron had submitted it. He was like tweaking numbers at the last minute and accidentally submitted a 61 card deck list and then just realized it too late and just ran with it, kind of thing. So 61 cards, but what this deck is trying to do is apply early pressure, get a little bit of a board presence with some zombies and beat down a little bit. So like Carnophage or Sarcomancy are 1 mana 2/2s, and then it might follow it up with like Withered Wretch or Shepherd of Rot is a really interesting card that can continuously deal damage even if kind of like the ground gets mucked up. And then like Lord of the Undead can not only anthem your team, make them a little bit stronger, but then can get cards back. And a card especially like Gem Palm Polluter is something that can just cycle, and if you're able to return that like every turn with Lord of the Undead, you can have some pretty cool synergies with the zombie deck. So what is your kind of the takeaway, I guess, from this matchup? Do you like who do you want to be? Whose shoes would you want to be in this position?
I in a vacuum, I like Zombies against Blue White. That said, he doesn't have the 4th Rotlung main, and Tom does have this Miser's Powder Keg and Humility main with this Enlightened Tutor engine. That does change the calculus a little bit. But all things considered, really, I think this is approaching a coin flip with that. If it was a more traditional version of each of these decks, I would give the slight nod to Zombies. I will say it's very funny that Aaron's on his extra card is a land, because Zombies is a deck that it's very close between 20 and 21 lands out of 60 cards. And so that set that 20th and a half land in a deck with tons of redundancy and not really many cards that are way better than the other cards, apart from, I guess, maybe Dark Ritual. It's not the worst place to have a 61 card deck list, I will say.
Okay. Yeah, I think like the big thing that at least the first game is kind of going to revolve around is getting a humility into play, and
Yeah.
Tom does have like the 2 copies of Enlightened Tutor, which can if I like put that on top of the library and then just really slow down what Aaron's trying to do. So we'll see if that comes into play. Let's jump down to the match, and you can let the players know that we can get started.
Okay. We'll do that right now.
We got Tom on the left. He's featuring the Coastal Tower playmat, which is fitting, given that he's playing the Landstill deck. And
this is that is, I was talking about before we went on. I was like, what is that artwork? I've obviously seen Coastal Tower 1,000 times in my life, but I never noticed that artwork. I will say this is a really fun matchup because it's pretty much an aggro deck against your father's control deck, right? So it's a good old-fashioned match of Magic as Garfield intended. Aaron with his best possible start of Dark Ritual into discard spell.
I mean, this is one of the things where you're not.
Did he name swords? Did he name swords? Holy shit! He probably should have named swords. Did he?
I mean, he doesn't exactly know what he's playing against. He might be naming like Dreadnought or something because his deck is like a little bit soft to the quick Stifle Knot. He might have been doing it because that is one thing that the players don't know exactly what they're playing up against in game one.
No, that is a wonderful point. I think he does name swords, and wait, he did name swords.
Okay.
So this game's over. He wins this going away if he names swords to plowshares there. That's just insane. So he put him on land still. That's really impressive.
Yeah, that's some foresight there. Like you putting him on the certain deck and then obviously getting the card right and
getting two of them and the most important card.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Tom. And so and then he follows up just with 2/2/2s. So
this is over. That's a shepherd.
So he didn't hit it right away. He flashed back a Carnophage is how it happened. So
okay, so it's not quite over yet. Okay.
Yeah. If
he actually hit and had the other 2/2 in play to go with a shepherd, it would in fact be over. That said, Tom is drawing fairly slim.
Yeah, so the Shepherd of Rot is one that you don't always see, but yeah, it makes both players lose life equal to the number of zombies.
Yeah, it's a draft common from Onslaught, a 1/1 for 2 that Sean. So I actually had a hand in building this deck many moons ago with Sean Sullivan and Robin Lund. And we were just scouring Scryfall. I think Sean happened upon the Shepherd of Rot and was like, wow, this actually is a pretty fucking good card. It's loss of life. It gets around weird stuff like Light of Day and, all sorts of weird stuff. And it's proven its worth. It's a 4 of in just about every version of zombies. I know Robin's been fine-tuning it over the last few years, and it always makes the cut as a 4 of. All right, he doesn't have another card, so he's still on this little, 4 damage clock. I guess counterspell. Tom is counterspelling clearly whatever card Aaron casts next, right? I think he's on actual 1 card.
Yeah, it does look like the pressure, like given the Aaron start, facing down 4 turn, I guess that is going to be pretty quick.
It's a huge deal. Like if Tom has a random Wrath, if he can Wrath this turn, then all of a sudden things change. But that's about it. Even Humility, that's probably enough. Duress, I think I don't know. I don't know what's in his hand.
It could be a Gem Palm Polluter.
He God knows. Or what's in Tom's hand too. This is an interesting Duress, right? Because he knows he has Counterspell. Does Tom counterspell this? Is this a bluff? Whatever. He's going to get the counterspell anyway. Does he not want to give away the rest of his hand? Like if he had Wrath Plains, this would be sick, right? Counter this.
Okay, Enlightened Tutor was the pause.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Aaron plays another threat, and then he Wraths the board away.
If he doesn't have a second white source, I don't think you can get Humility.
Yeah, he's going to get
Powder Keg.
Okay. He has a 0. I guess the Sarko. So he has a 0. He's going to kill the 2/2 right away. So that's a big deal.
That basically takes off 3 points of power because
it
reduces the amount that the Shepherd does. So the rest of the hand looks like a Factor Fiction, a Mana Leak, and a Counterspell in the Dust Bowl that we saw.
Next turn is clearly going to be tap Plains Dust Bowl to play Powder Keg, have a Counterspell up. What do you take here?
I think you take Factor Fiction.
Yeah.
But it's only because if you're taking one of the Counterspells, I guess you might be able to play around Mana Leak. if the game goes a little bit
Yeah,
longer.
it's gonna be. I mean, whatever. But if the game goes long, it's very bad for him. So yeah, he took Foff. I think I would too. It kind of sucks, but so now he's just gonna have this little baby 1 turn clock. He's gonna go to 10, and he's gonna have a 1/1.
Yeah, the one thing about like leaving the Factor Fiction in the hand is like that Tom's like kind of priced into casting the Powder Keg the next turn,
Yeah.
so the Factor Fiction is not like going to be played on turn
The problem
4.
is he had 2 counter spells, so
Sure.
he's going to have a counter spell up anyway, which is really awkward. Even if he draws something good now,
Yeah. Yeah, Tom gets a good use of his mana here, that he's able to play the Powder Keg and still have
Yeah, it's
a
really
counter spell up.
Yeah, that was pretty crucial that he didn't have that actual Sarcomancy in play. That was a good catch by you. Oh, Cabal Therapy. That's a good one.
All right, well,
I guess you just mana. Oh, he named Counterspell.
yeah, I think you just use this
You have
mana
to
leak.
leak that. You have to leak that, yeah. So now they're both playing off the top, and he's got a 1/1 in play, and Tom has all sorts of Factor Fictions and things to draw. Even like a Mishra's Factory.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Mishra's would do a good job, yeah.
But Shepherd can still do its thing around Mishra. Although actually it's probably actually bad because it could be a clock for Aaron.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, Tom only has that one white source, so if he's gonna find a card like Humility or Wrath of God, he's not able to cast it right now. And the Shepherd, this is an attacking Shepherd. He's very happy. I don't know. Maybe he's sad. Oh, well, actually, was it an attack, or did he?
That was an attack. He's attacking.
Okay, I feel like I would want to play the Shepherd and just do it for 2. Train
I think
for
I would
2.
too. Also, I mean, Tom plays Decrees, right? At this point, I mean, he's drawing off the top, so I guess whatever. But this is the last turn he attacks. He's not attacking next turn. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
All right, he did not impulse into Counterspell or Swords. So he really wants to play Wrath or Humility right now. That's the clear dream. I mean, Humility is not even that great, but Wrath would be insane.
I mean, Humility slows it down enough because this is 4 a turn, and if there's another zombie, this is 6 a turn. 6 this turn.
Aaron just ripping spells off the top.
So yeah, the thing about like the Shepherds is, we have a Decree. So he's just making tokens.
End of turn Decree.
Okay.
But he's going to take 6, right? He's looking extremely dead unless he draws Wrath.
Yeah, he's basically dead because take 6.
Right, he has to. Yeah. So he didn't play a land yet. He could still play Wrath or Humility. Humility's fine here too.
A Swords would that keep you alive?
It would save him a turn. It doesn't do a whole lot. It's really he needs.
I don't even know. So Aaron's going to activate at the end of turn. You would do it in response, so you lose 2 and then 3. You lose 5 and then you untap and do 2.
Yeah.
3, 2.
So he'd be at 2,
and then he gets to attack. Oh, I guess the token.
He has blockers though.
Yep. Okay. So
he lives. Swords buys him 1 turn, but he's really drawing pretty slim. Aaron just ripped really hard. I mean, he had a great opening draw. I'm curious what he named. We could maybe ask him later. But great opening draw, and he just kept drawing gas. He did not draw any more lands after those first couple. I appreciate this nice quick game.
That's not directed at any of our other players, is it? All right, we see the end of turn double activation. So I guess looks like it is for the full 6. So I don't think there's a Swords of Plowshares, and I think that's going to spell game over for Tom.
Yeah.
Yep, we see the life total is getting reset, and the players are scooping it up. So the first game goes to the zombie players, or the zombie player Aaron, and that's
kind of how it should be. He had a discard spell, he had some clocks. Tom actually made a great comeback with the powder keg and the counter spells, but it just wasn't quite enough. Aaron's start was too hot.
Yeah, if he had that decree and was able to, when that that a zombie was attacking, he was able just to snipe one of those. That could have changed things.
1 turn earlier off the top and for 4 mana killed a zombie and cycled. That would have been completely insane.
All right, I'm going to bring up the deck list. We can look at the sideboards and see if anything changes. So the land still. There's another copy of Wrath of God.
Yep.
Uh, Curse Totem. Let's see. That's good against Shepherd. It's fine against like Lord of the Undead. Like, but uh,
Doesn't do a ton.
ton.
You definitely want that Wrath.
I
I
think
mean,
I'd bring in a
what
card
does
like
he?
Chain of Vapor just to slow them down. Like, I mean, it might bounce a token, and it just might. If they spend their turn like casting a 3 mana card, I don't know. It's probably better than
I mean, maybe it's better than something like Parallax Tide.
or
Like on.
seal cleansing or I don't know, maybe cut replenish. I don't know. But yeah, the sideboard there's not too many things. I think I'd bring in the Wrath and maybe a Decree. I might bring in Curse Totem, and I think I bring in the Chain of Vapor. I think I'd be looking at those cards. I
That
don't.
all sounds reasonable, and he has some clunkers, right? He does not need all of these seal of cleansings. He does not need this Parallax Tide. So yeah, that sounds like a pretty reasonable swap. 3.5 of those cards. I agree. What does Aaron actually bring in? Aaron, it looks like, has not much. He has a fourth Cabal Therapy, and that's probably it. But he doesn't need much. He's pretty set.
He might bring in another Bad Moon. I don't know. Like it's a way to like play around with Wrath of God a little bit, that you're able to like apply a little more pressure
Yeah.
without playing all your creatures. But then you kind of have the weird thing, like if you're all if Tom's able to answer all the creatures and you just have Bad Moons, then it's kind of awkward. But
I could see sideboarding on a swamp on the draw too in this game. Maybe just a swamp for Cabal Therapy. I don't know. What you're saying about Bad Moon makes some sense. I don't hate that, because then like he's going to take out his seals. These Bad Moons are going to sit around on the board forever, and now pretty much all of your cards are clocks and all can attack into Mishra's Factory too. I actually like Bad Moon. Now that I think about it, I like it.
Okay.
So yeah, minus swamp, minus something for Bad Moon and Therapy. This something is probably, I don't know, Lord of the Undead. Probably it's just a little.
Yeah, it might just be a little bit clunky, and
Yeah.
even though I do like the engine of getting back your gem palm polluters, though I guess I mean like
That's magical Christmas land, though. I
Yeah.
think if you're doing that, like whatevs. It doesn't matter what you have.
Does he have to board to 61 cards? I don't remember the rules.
He does. He can't have 16 in his sideboard, right?
Okay, I think that's correct. You can
He
have
could board to 62 or 63
you can have
cards.
less. You can yes, you can bring in more cards and have less than 15, but I don't think he. Yeah, yeah. At some point in the rules that you had to do a 1-for-1 swap, and then they switched it. Yeah, but so the current rules is you can board in more cards, but not board out more than you board in.
Yeah, so the extra card is making it a little bit closer to sideboard out that swamp. I know we're picking nits here, but like oh no, that extra card is a swamp. So that would put him on 20 swamps out of 61 cards on the draw. That's probably fine. I think I would do that.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like I think I'll do a lot in certain matchups if I know if I'm on the draw, I'll take out a land, and that's probably a thing that people overlook or don't think as much.
It's my first go-to. Can I possibly get a land out of my deck? Because sideboarding's so hard. Yeah. That makes it easier. Yeah. All I do want to do is sideboard out lands.
All right. Well, Tom is going to look to just kind of. Well, he's going to hope that Aaron's not going to come out. I think like Dark Ritual is probably like a very.
I was going to say the same thing. He's going to hope Aaron does not draw Dark Ritual. The zombie draws where they have Dark Ritual are tiers above the ones where they don't.
Mm-hmm. And because if you can spend a lot of your turns answering card for card, whether it's like Source of Plowshares or a counter spell or just like a factory to hold off one creature, but when you're able to deploy 2 threats in one turn, and then you spend all those turns answering one card, you're getting attacked for 2 or 4 points of damage, and that adds up really quick.
It's even more potent against a deck like Tom's, which really, it has swords, but for the most part, a lot of its answers start costing 2, right? All these counter spells, and getting under all of those counter spells on turn 1 is absurd. Looks like Tom kept. Aaron is thinking. Aaron back from a sweet-ass trip to the Premodern Euro Champs last weekend.
I believe he was the only American who flew out to... But yeah, he made the trip to Germany. And
I'm glad somebody did.
Yeah.
He had a winning in, I believe, too, in the last round. He lost his winning in. He played Sly, of course, because that's what he does. We're
So I think we're, unless they're waiting. Do you want to just have they?
oh oh maybe they're waiting for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just let them know that. Yeah, I'm fine with them starting, but yeah, I think just
Oh
from
no, I
their.
told them they were waiting for us. Unlike
Okay.
last week when freaking Cole and Flores just went to town without even waiting for anything. So this is the opposite. They're being too polite, and those guys were too rude.
Well, I think this. I don't think you're telling the full story. Didn't you tell them that you're good or something? And
I
that's
did,
what
but
they
it was like you're
interpreted.
good
Yeah.
regarding Mike's potato camera
Yeah.
angle.
Yeah.
Like that was fucking ridiculous.
All
He has
right.
another ritual. Aaron having fairly goddish draws here.
So Tom kicking off with just a plane. So that's one thing that you're not going to have turn 2 counterspell.
Yeah.
Not that counterspell is like that important in this matchup, but yes, Dark Ritual with 4 power, with 6
Holy
power.
shit.
That's pretty good.
This is a dark ritual clinic right here.
Yeah,
And
this
by
just
clinic, I mean he's very good at drawing it in his opening hand.
this puts a ton of pressure on Tom, and like his draw needs to be. He's got one swords, but here's that problem: is you're answering one card, and there's still 4 power,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing Aaron's going to continue applying pressure, and Tom really needs like a humility. Well, he's got a curse
brought
totem.
in the totem.
Okay.
Doesn't do a whole lot on this board.
Nope.
But
Nope. That's still a problem. All right. But yeah, he's really looking for humility or Wrath of God.
yes. And he has the 3 rats now, so he's much more live on these rats. He doesn't have to get as lucky.
I mean,
Yep.
Mistress Factory in 2 turns could block and pump, but we do see the Wasteland ready for Aaron, so I guess that kind of cuts that
That's
off.
why a lot of people think, oh, why doesn't Zombie Deck run Mistress Factory, right? They're so aggro, the extra damage matters, yada yada. But Mistress Factory is such a beating against the zombie deck. In addition to having a bunch of 1 mana, 2/2s, Wasteland's just the perfect land to pair with your swamps. It's not even close versus Factory.
I believe Aaron should be at 18 from his.
He should be, yeah.
Now he should be at 16. I think he's.
I'm gonna not worry about that
Yeah.
too much, but it's possible. You never know.
I'm gonna send him a quick message.
Tom very impressively drawing mono basics against this Wasteland. Duress, okay. I like this play. I assume that. Oh no, because actually he did nothing on turn 2, so never mind. I was going to say playing out those cards on turn 1 and then duressing on turn 2. Okay, and he counterspells duress. All right, so here we go. 4 damage. Let's go. Let's see if Tom has has a wrath or humility. Really a wrath at this point. Yep, he has a wrath. That was a really quick fetch. Has to be wrath. And another basic, 4 basics in play. Worst Wasteland ever. So assuming the speed of which he sacked that fetch means he does indeed have wrath, this is looking fine for Tom. He's going to have shields down for a turn. I don't know what Aaron's going to have up his sleeve. He would really love to have some cards in hand to cast. There it is, Portal Wrath. I don't know how I feel about that. I do own a couple of those, but...
Like that one. Well, that's a good way to get a black bordered old four.
Is that the Portal? Is that a Portal 2 Wrath? Mark Vogt told me yesterday that Portal 2 is his favorite set of all time. Which is a statement I've never heard anyone say.
There's a lot of arts on the Portal 2 cards that I really like.
I get that, but like Portal, like what's even like how could that be your favorites? I guess there's a lot of bangers in there. Wrath, Get In, a lot of like old school, nostalgic staples. This Lord of the Undead is a.
All right, we got a humility.
All right, nice 1/1. And all these cards are completely on the board forevermore, right? Like he has no way to remove any of that crap. He has no dystopia, no any of that stuff, right?
I believe yes.
Wait, is that it's still a 2/2, right? It's a black creature? Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
If the orders were different, then
no, I don't think that matters actually.
Well, the one that was in play, I think would like any subsequent creatures would be 2/2s, but I think if the humility came down with the one, I don't know, maybe not.
There are some weird humility layering rules. I don't think that it matters with Bad Moon because it's just like a separate card.
Yeah, I am
But
not.
I'm certainly open to being wrong. I don't really know much about the Magic rules. So.
I am not gonna. Humility is a
Oh,
card that I do not like to do rules. We got a cycle decree, so
this is what probably why. Not that it matters. He would have decreed. Actually, he would have gotten one less guy. I would have wastelanded that factory end of turn. I think. Right. You're going to do it anyway. There's no reason not to. He either gets one less guy to decree, or he telegraphs that he has a decree. I don't think it's going to matter a ton because Tom is really in the driver's seat now. But
we have a follow from Bene 1814. So welcome. So yeah, things look good for Tom. He's on the offensive as his. Though I mean, I guess like
one of his
any
guys got short.
creature, if any creature is a 2/2.
Right. These bad moons, I mean, we were right about that. These are great cards in the Humility Wrath of God matchup.
Yeah, and given that the Mishra's Factory will be answered by, I'm wondering why he's hanging on to those.
I
Like,
think you still want to do it. You don't want to let him decree for more, right? I mean, you have to do it.
what would Aaron be saving the Wastelands for?
Like you in other matchups, you might say Dust Bowl, but that's not a thing here. So I don't quite understand. You got to kill that factory. So we didn't even notice, or I didn't even notice, but that standstill hit play, and it's looking very, very good for Tom now.
Yep, be able to trade that in for 3 cards once.
So here's the thing: if he this that actually might have really mattered, right? Because if he kills that factory end of turn, Tom doesn't have a 1/1, or if he cycles in response, Aaron knows not to attack and has 1 turn to at least return a card to his hand, right? I think so. That's kind of a big deal here.
Yeah. The Sarcomancy will trigger as long as there's a zombie, not a zombie in play, and I think they've been triggering that
Yeah.
because Aaron's life total like dipped down pretty quick. So
Yeah. What happened to that? Oh, swords.
that one got swords. So
That is like, it's amazing, right? Like, look at how good that bad moon is. All of a sudden, every 2/2, every card's a 2/2 against his board full of 1/1s. It's kind of crazy. It almost makes you want to keep in some seals, right? You kind of have to keep in a couple of seals for these bad moons.
we have a follow from Panda Avil or Panda Veal 87. Welcome. Yeah, Dystopia I think is absent from Aaron's list, which is a card that usually is in the sideboard for problematic enchantments.
Yeah. Oh, just that. Okay.
So you got
I guess you take counter. I guess counterspell. I don't know.
Does the Enlightened Tutor get anything scary?
It's just full scoop. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. All right, so this went kind of exactly how these were supposed to go. Aaron had another great draw, but Tom had a swords into a wrath and was able to stem the bleeding. And this is just good old-fashioned aggro discard versus your father's blue-white control deck. Love it.
All right, so who do you like for game 3? I mean, Aaron's had the Dark Ritual each time, so
yeah. I mean, Aaron's deck has looked great because of the ritual. I do still like Aaron on the play. All the cards that Tom is bringing are the best cards. All cost a lot. That's that third wrath. All of those things. I think that Tom might be figuring out how to get another Seal of Cleansing in his deck right now after seeing the power of Bad Moon. I'm guessing that's probably what he's doing. Yeah, Bad Moon therapy. That's really it.
yeah, I think I like the edge to Aaron,
Yes,
just being on the play.
Yes.
And like, I mean, Tom's deck kind of has to have everything line up, and it has to be kind of in a short amount of time. Otherwise, like Aaron can just run him over. So
Right, that's the thing. Like you a lot of these control versus aggro matchups, you're like, oh well, I have the wrath, I have the whatever, but you have to like A, draw the right mana, B, have that card on turn 4. Like a lot of stuff has to go right, and even when it does go right, you're still not out of the woods. So I definitely like Aaron on the play in game 3 here, even with his deck, the matchup getting slightly worse. Tom's deck gets a little better after board than Aaron's does, I think.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Tom that he doesn't have a card like Light a Day to get with his uh, enchantments. Though I guess the zombies deck surprisingly doesn't just die. Like the mono black aggro deck doesn't just die to Light a Day thanks to Shepherd of
Yeah,
Rot and Gem Palm
and
Polluter.
jump on. Yeah.
And so
That's I mean that's pretty niche, but it does come up. There are misers, lights of day hanging around in sideboards because of Enlightened Tutor. That's definitely a thing. There's other cards too, right? Like there's something else that those cards get around. Is it confinement? What does solitary confinement say on it?
gives you Shroud and Preventable
Oh,
Damage.
gives you shroud too.
I think so. Yeah, you can't be the target of spells or abilities.
Jesus Christ, really?
Yeah, but that one's not very good in the blue-white deck.
No. I'm just thinking about other cards in
Sure.
general that those zombies, those shepherd et al. Get around. There's definitely something else. I forgot what it was. This is good though. I mean, this is the opposite of last week's matchup. These games are clean, crisp. This is a traditional matchup. Last week was just like two weird mid-rangey decks that nobody really knew how. So Flores could not handle my commentary last week. So in game 2, when because we couldn't see what was going on his camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we thought all of his dragons were exiled because of that haunting echoes or whatever, and we're like, well, he has no rifts. He has one dragon left in his deck. He can't possibly win, so he should concede. And then 3 turns later, he had 3 dragons in play. So I actually blame his camera for that, because we just could not tell. We just weren't sure what was going on. So I'm not going to eat that one. I will say I never claimed to know how that matchup plays out. He told me after the fact that we were so high in Recurring Nightmare. And he was like, dude, Recurring Nightmare doesn't even matter. Like, my dragons and flyers are such a trump. And I clearly Coel knew this because he brought in cards like Diabolic Edict and all this stuff. But like, I was just punting that matchup so hard. I think it like actually favors red-white due to the flyers. And Nightmare is okay, but it's not the trump we thought it was.
Yeah, it was much more dynamic and interactive than I guess I gave it on paper that I thought it would be. I still think Recurring Nightmare is a pretty important card.
Yeah.
But
well, without it, Coel has literally 0 chance any of those games. So it's obviously important. He won game 1 on the back of gaining 12 life a turn or whatever with those Baloths, right? Those Baloths for the people at home. I'm going to tell them they can go.
So Robin's asking if we have PSS scores. We usually have one. I don't know if we have one this season. The one thing that's a little bit tricky is because of our schedule, we have people that have played more matches. So it's not necessarily the best indicator if someone might be like a game ahead, but they also have played one more round. So it's a little different than most of the other series that we've had, where it's been pretty consistent of week to week.
Yeah, Coel's 3-0, and I'm 1-0. Feels weird. All right, so Tom Mulligan's on the draw. I don't think I saw Aaron Mulligan, so he kept something good enough on the play, which probably means duress or therapy or ritual or multiples of those. And Tom is mulliganing, which is a much bigger deal for a deck like his that needs every land and every little advantage.
Mm-hmm. So chat's talking about Engineered Plague for decree tokens. What are your thoughts on that? Like I personally, like with the aggressive decks, unless like the card completely like shuts me out, I don't like those reactive cards. I'd rather just be more consistent and apply the pressure.
I agree. I have done that before, but it's usually a case where I have flat duds in my deck, and Plague on Soldiers is better than nothing. But you don't want to be aggressively doing that in this aggro matchup.
I mean, I have seen lots of people bring an Engineer Plague against land still, like even like Zombies players. I've seen it because I think there was one of the matches where we had it was kind of a blue-white control deck, but it had like land tax and zombie infestation. And
yeah. I don't know. Ask Robin. Robin's in the chat. Should he be bringing in Plague here? It doesn't sound right to me on the play in game 3, but I'm certainly open to being wrong on this.
All right, we got the turn 1 from Aaron is just 1/2/2 thanks to Sarcomancy. So Tom, maybe a sigh, or I mean, exhale a little bit of relief knowing that he's not facing off 4 power or 6 power like he has the previous
Yeah,
games.
those first two draws from Aaron were absolute hitters. And it looks like he has not a lot going on here.
Well,
Is
I
that
mean,
two impulses and
two
a prohibit?
impulses, which
Yeah.
if you're not under a ton of pressure, impulse is really good because it's flexible that you can find the right card for the right
It looks like
situation.
he's
So,
about to play. God, if he therapy's impulse here.
oh,
GG's.
yep, Tom's
Yep.
got.
Oh, no. It's not necessarily.
We got a Dark Ritual into Bad Moon, and then a
Oh,
Crown
it's
of Age.
not therapy. Okay. God, therapying away 2 cards is fucking Christmas morning. Feels so good. Did not happen here, though.
Tom was reaching for the cards. He was ready for the worst.
He can smell it. He's in really bad shape, but he's at least drawing live. What's this clock here? 6 plus 6. What's he at? 18. So that puts him at 6. So, oh no, he's at 19. So whatever, he could impulse into a Wrath and be okay-ish.
Yeah, this is a fast clock again. So I think he's gonna need to impulse into something like a Wrath of God.
Yeah, that's his only shot.
With a Shepherd. Shepherd's 3 damage as well. And Tom has to lose a life from the fetch land. He has him at 10. I thought it was 1, 2. Isn't he at 11? He took 2, and then he took 6, and then he took 1.
He might be. They know better. I'm going to assume it doesn't matter. This is making me wish that I played zombies in my third list. Swords. Okay. So he's still drawing live to Wrath of God. Impulse for Wrath, but this would be a fun Cabal Therapy next turn from Aaron. I guess not really. You still just have to name Wrath. It's not that interesting. Oh, they're looking at you messaged them about life totals. I'm like, why aren't they doing anything? Okay. Yeah. You're always preoccupied with these extra little points of damage. Like, whatever, we're all friends here. What's the difference? What's 1 damage amongst friends?
We're just confirming the life totals, so I mean I got it wrong last time, so and I interrupted him, so
Is that a Mirage Swamp? Those are the Mirage Swamps that Aaron's playing, right? Those are nice.
yes,
Toms are also nice. These are nice basic land choices.
I like the unglued ones a lot. I know some people are not the biggest fans of them, or some vocal people in the community. But yeah, the Mirage ones are awesome.
Mirage basically has the best land, the best basics, period. You can find a smattering of other lands that are awesome, of course, but on the whole, it's the best basics. All right. At 4, can he impulse into Wrath of God? Or that's an interesting play. Do you make that play? Because I think you just win outright if he doesn't. I guess you don't win outright because he can draw swords and you'd be at 1. Actually, it plays well against Decree. No, it doesn't do anything against Decree. I'm wondering if you play that Carniflage there.
Oh, there's a Wrath.
So now he's wishing he didn't play it, of course, but shields are down. He still has all basics in play. Sarko off the top.
All right, we got a Dust Bowl, but that one's not too relevant from Tom's perspective.
No, it does his worst land for sure.
All right, the 3/3 comes in.
Right. He'd love to decree now and chump it, but he can't because of the power of Bad Moon. Bad Moon, God, we were so right about Bad Moon. We're such good Magic players. That's what Tom's thinking about. Decree for 2, chump, hope to draw into something and do something else, or and you have to do that, right? Don't you have to do that?
Yeah, chat's talking about like committing the other card because it's good against Decree, Swords to Plowshares, Humility,
Right.
but obviously bad against Wrath.
I mean, it doesn't do a whole lot. Yeah, I guess Wrath is really the only card you're demolished by. So did he have Decree? He almost certainly
Well, there is a Mishra's Factory
has a
that
Decree.
Well, that's not enough though, because he basically needs another Wrath or Decree, right? Because there's 2 creatures.
It feels like he has a Decree, right? He thought for a long time before taking that damage. And I think he was probably thinking about casting Decree or casting Fact or Fiction and seeing what comes up next turn. So it feels like he'll be able to play another land and Decree for 3, which is chump plus cycle with a factory in play, which is something.
There could be a Enlightened Tutor in your hand, and that might be like the sequencing of whether you want to Enlightened
Yeah.
Tutor and then Fact, or Fact and then Enlightened Tutor.
Yep, that's also a great call. It felt like he was thinking about something.
Okay. All right, well, Tom is going to play a land and pass the turn. So I don't think there's... Like, Decree just stems the bleeding. It doesn't really... I was going to say Gem Palm Polluter. That's what I was looking for. Nope, another Bad Moon, so...
Right.
Can there be 2 Bad Moons in play? We're not on Earth, I guess. There's multiple moons.
Is he still thinking about the Bad Moon, I guess?
No. So Aaron will send him in.
So I mean, we knew we had that by how we played last round. So that's fine. Chump 2, draw a card, have one more chump the next turn, and have a Mishra's Factory. He's really not in a great spot, but
no, because now like the Mishra's Factory can't even,
yeah,
like with the 2 Bad Moons.
and the Mishra's Factory is sick. I'm trying to figure out why the Mishra's Factory
is not.
Oh, because he didn't get the Mishra's Factory.
He didn't. Okay, it's in the
He
graveyard.
kept the Impulse. Okay, that's why.
Chat says maybe it's one really terrible moon.
Super Bad Moon.
Yeah.
Starring Seth Rogen.
I don't even think there's like, it's got to be Wrath of God, right? I can't think of many other cards that get Tom out of this situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another Decree buys him more turns, but certainly not.
But you're just treading water. It's just you are
treading and drawing though, right?
Yeah.
So it's something. Swords chump. All right.
Okay.
And now he's going to get a chance to impulse. But now, so these Bad Moons are so insane that like every single creature is like must wrath or must kill at this point. You know, it's crazy.
Well, given that Tom's at 1, that's kind of the
right.
truth.
They all were anyway, but
the way it lines up against like Decree tokens and Mishra's
Tom
Factory.
putting up a fight here.
Factor Fiction's good.
That tide is still in his deck.
But we do see a Wrath of God and we see a Powder Keg, so I think you have to split those 2 cards probably, right? Yep. Would you?
I mean, it depends. Like, I really want the 4. Okay, but you can't. Yeah.
And he still has Impulse, so
maybe you just get greedy, take the 4 and hope to impulse to something, and then you have Keg and stuff kicking around.
I was thinking, but like the Keg's not that good because I guess it just answers the next creature. But maybe it's like it's kind of like it's diversified enough that there's a factory, so that.
I'm really trying to figure out what that tide is doing in Tom's deck on the draw. I'm assuming that I'm missing something because he's very good at Magic.
Yeah, he might just have a different game plan of.
Yeah. He probably has all of his seals then if he has Tide and he knows how good Bad Moon is because it wrecked him in game 2. So that gives him more outs to Tide seal somebody.
So
But
the interesting thing here is with 2 Sarcomancies, like if Tom can keep
yeah,
the zombies off the board, like
yeah.
this is actually a pretty quick clock with the
And this
Mishra's Factory.
factory that he
Yeah.
has, like that's 4. Wait. What?
I think I'd be attacking. Like, I guess
Why did he not attack? Yeah, what am I missing here? God, I always think I'm missing so much.
he must be.
What are he keeping up 5 mana for? It's not like he has like, desertion.
I mean, if you have a factor fiction or something.
Flores is I don't know. Flores is telling me that Tide kills Aaron from here. I don't think it does enough at this point, right? Like, what am I? He doesn't have a seal. If he had a seal to go with it, sure.
Yeah, it's good if you still have like that.
Just turning him
that
off
package,
for 2 turns doesn't do a lot.
I mean, it's 2 turns is pretty good when you're attacking for 4, basically. But yeah, we have a subscription from Elendrill. Thank you, Michael.
What are you Enlightened Tutor here for?
Humility. Oh, standstill. It looks like.
I don't hate this, right? Because he's ahead on board now. He has 2 Starkos and this factory. I like this.
Okay.
I was wondering what he would do. Oh, he got duress, so that's why he didn't respond. All right, counterspell gone. Oh, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, this one's tough.
Last card was Rotlung. Now we draw a standstill. He can't even play it now.
Yeah, I don't think you can. Because this one, even if you do, so basically you need Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, I mean he has to chump here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
And I think he's used 2 swords, so there's not too many like clean answers to this.
There's not a lot.
I call it a 2/2, but I guess it's a 4/4.
Yeah. Rotlung also so good against Wrath, obviously. That's like part of the reason why this matchup is pretty good because of Rotlung versus Wrath, and that should do it.
Fairy Conclave, will not be enough, and Aaron takes it down. So that was, I mean, like that last game was a lot of back and forth. But yeah, I mean, when you're at 1, like you know that the zombies deck just has a ton of threats. But yeah, it's just a nice cozy feeling when you have a Rotlung Reanimator when they're at 1. So
it really is, especially I think 2 Wraths have been so there was just very little. You said almost all of his removal was gone, right? 2 Wraths, 2 Swords, did not have a lot left. We could talk to them briefly if you want. Yep. I would love to.
Yeah. I'll turn them. I'll unmute them.
Aaron, what did you therapy for turn 1 in the dark?
Like, I just needed to clear the way for that Rotlung.
No, I know. I just, man, can't believe I messed up.
Yeah. I actually ended up doing absolutely no boarding against you. I just didn't even have anything to put in.
No, yeah, you played good. I'm like frustrated with myself. I'm like so tired. I just thought
you. Hey, man, you just put up a hell of a fight in a matchup that's supposed to just be a brutal beatdown. Like this is supposed to be a no close contest.
No,
Can
thanks,
you guys
man.
hear us yet?
I just damn. Oh man, I'm so pissed at myself for that. Like I had the E2 and I thought maybe you had nothing.
Well, you had no idea what that other card was.
Yeah. No, they want us to unmute.
Yeah. I'll flip my camera too.
Hello, players. Can you hear us now?
Sure can.
All right. Well, that was an exciting match. I mean, it was. I mean, I felt like I was kind of rooting for Tom to come back after he got down to 1, but I mean, there's just so many problematic cards at that point. Like any threat is a 4/4, and it's just tough for Tom to answer every single card that comes down.
Right.
Aaron, what did you therapy game 1 on the play in the dark?
Dreadnought.
Okay.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Blind therapy Dreadnought.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because did you think that Tom was on the Stifle Knot, or do you think that was just like a hedge because your hand and deck is soft to that quick combo?
Well, I think that this deck isn't that soft to the quick combo because you have all the discard. I thought that this was the matchup I was hoping to engineer because of it. You're going, you've got a deck with a bunch of disruption and a clock, so it's kind of good against both of the blue decks.
Yeah, it felt like you were boxed. You couldn't really risk. Tom couldn't really risk playing, or you couldn't risk playing Fluctuator against blue white, right? That's just too big a risk. No. So you basically had to pick zombies. And I know zombies is favored against blue white, albeit Tom's match with the Enlightened Tutors and the keg and all that stuff makes it closer to even. I still think you're favored, but it's probably like 55-45 or 58-42. It's not horrible. What do you think your matchup is against mono blue? Zombies versus mono blue, Dreadnought. Didn't feel great to me.
Post board, it feels really good with this board. I kind of specifically focused on Dreadnought with the board here.
Because you have what do you even have? You don't have that much. Smothers. Yeah.
4 smother and an eradicate.
Eradicate.
Yeah.
That's insane. Eradicating Dreadnought is actually insane.
Yeah. So if it lands, it's real rough. But honestly, I did not think for a second that he was going to bring blue-white against the potential of zombies.
Okay. Tom,
what was your thought process, Tom?
Yeah.
I thought I would have a tough matchup against zombies with all the discard, and if I was going to pilot Dreadnought and like the 4 smothers in the sideboard, and I kind of really wanted to play land still. I got banned the past 2 weeks, and I feel like it's pretty it's rough, like an aggro deck with discard. But I feel like land still sometimes can like turn the corner against aggro, like
you did in game 2.
Yeah, and like almost did it game 3. I was telling Aaron that I made 2 mistakes, like kind of disappointed with myself. There was one where let me see, I think I like impulsed. What the hell did I do? Oh no, I swords the token, his like token instead of the Carnophage, but I had impulse also, but I should have impulse first, I think, and then having a chance to drawing the powder keg, which was in the pile, but I swords first. So this way I could have impulsed, found the powder keg, swords the Carnophage, play powder keg next turn, sack it to hit the token. So I was still like backstepping, and then when I Enlightened Tutored, I just made a mistake. I should have went for Humility just so all of his stuff is down to a 3/3 so that Factory can block it. But
that's easy to say in retrospect. If he doesn't have a card there and you play Standstill Go, you're actually favored with 2 circles and Factory and Standstill in play. You're going from you're going from 5% to 75%. You know?
It absolutely, man. That was my thought process. I was like, he's holding the card forever, and I thought it was a swamp. So Major Rest, I was contemplating countering and just waiting, but
and you were right. It was a good read because I was holding the swamp, I was holding the duress, and I was just waiting for something to serve the game plan. I wanted to have the unknown in hand, which is why I just kept holding that swamp, kept holding the swamp. I'm like, if I ever get something to play it, then duress goes to game plan. Now I can force something onto the board. So it was a perfect read. It's just you had no idea what I drew off the top.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's information in the fact that you decided to launch that plan there, but I wouldn't beat yourself up too much over that. That was, I mean, Humility there, sure, it does let you trade a Factory with the first 3/3, but like after that, I don't know, like everything's still going to be a 3/3, and Standstill might draw you the cards you need. So I don't hate that play.
All right, that makes you feel better then, because I was upset. I told him, I was like, damn it, man. I was like, that was.
Actually, I take it back. I hate that play. You totally fucked up. I want you mired in your own shit right now because we're about to play, and I want you on your worst game. So
absolutely, yeah.
I take it all back.
No, Aaron, good playing. It was close, and it was closer than I thought. Like I said, I thought Landstill could turn the corner and then just take advantage, but they were all pretty close. I mean, Landstill just struggles against the turn 1 Dark Ritual. So I was shocked I won like game 2, but.
It was hilarious. Game 3, I top decked the Dark Ritual after the first turn. I'm like, Dark Ritual hands to open up 1 and 2, and then top decking the Dark Ritual for turn 2 in the last game.
Yeah, I mean, well played.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good.
That was a nice clean match of Magic. It was a nice aggro-y deck against a blue traditional blue-white control deck. It was nice to see. Pleasure to watch.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I guess we're just gonna shuffle things around because we have
exactly
the same permutation of players that are going to be here for round 2. It's just going to be, I guess I can show the schedule real quick. But yeah, we're going to have Tom playing again, but he'll be up against Mano, and then Aaron's going to be jumping in the booth and doing commentary with me. So I'm going to put up like a quick break. I'm just going to grab something like a drink, but obviously everyone should be set up. Mano, you can get your cards ready, but we're going to be right back with our second round of the PSS. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.